Okay, the statues are very important in our society, and some people say we should remove them, especially those statues linked to slavery. My view is that we shouldn't topple these statues because they're an important part of not only white people's history, but an important part of ours. Mm-hmm. And the phrase I use is that if you remove the evidence, you remove the deed. Mm-hmm. And in 100 years' time, nobody will know who Coulson was and the evil that he did. The point is that what I want is that we put plaques on these statues. And the plaques must say exactly what they did, no matter how bad it is. And therefore, in Edinburgh, we have a very large statue in the middle of town. And it's a statue to a man called Henry Dundas. Now, one may say, oh, that's not important. Who was Henry Dundas? Then I would put to you, I would say, have you ever heard of William Wilberforce? And a lot of people, I'm sure, would say yes. Well, what I would then say, if you've heard of William Wilberforce and you've not heard of Henry Dundas, then you don't know the history of the abolition of the slave trade. Because Henry Dundas, as Home Secretary in 1792, stopped William Wilberforce from abolishing the slave trade, stopped him. He actually put down an amendment in Wilberforce's bill, and Dundas did it with one word. Wilberforce had put down that the slave trade should be abolished immediately. Dundas said it should be gradually abolished. One word, gradually. And that word went in the bill. And that one word stopped Wilberforce from 1792 to 1807, 15 years, during which time almost 630,000 Africans were transported into slavery. Henry Dundas also attacked Haiti, San Domingo, it was called then. Mm-hmm. And he attacked it in the 1790s. And he destroyed the economy of Haiti, who is still suffering. And why did he do that? He was protecting Jamaica as a slave colony, because Jamaica was the most significant sugar producing country of the British Empire. Over 50% of the sugar produced in the Caribbean came from Jamaica. Jamaica had 300,000 slaves out of 500,000 remaining. So Britain had about 800,000 slaves. So Dundas quite political in his action. If he destroys the French slave colony in San Domingo, Haiti, then Britain has the advantage, because then the economy of Britain will be better than that of France. Mm-hmm. Now, he did that as well. You know, and therefore, what else did he do, Henry Dundas? So he's the Wilberforce. He attacked Haiti. He then sent one of the most powerful governors Jamaica has ever had, called Balcarres, Earl Balcarres. Those who are from Jamaica and from Manchester, there is a little area there refers to Balcarres. Now, he went to Jamaica in the 1790s as well. Dundas sent him. And he attacked the Maroons. So they had a fight, a war, a Maroon War, with Balcarres, the British troops. And Balcarres made a deal with Balcarres, and he reneged on that deal. the point is that that's the sort of battles you have to fight.
Yeah.
And the only weapon you need is knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Because I am very knowledgeable about this man, Henry Dundas. You know, he chose the Duke of Wellington's brother to go and kill the Sultan of Mysore in India.
Wow.
You know, and the fact is that the Heritage Society Trust, or whatever they call themselves, the English Heritage, got that wrong. In fact, they're blaming Clive of India for that act, awful act. It was Dundas. Dundas was president of the Board of Control. That means he controlled the colonies. He was Secretary of State for War. That's why he could attack Haiti. And that's why he could attack the Maroons.
Mm-hmm.
No, we've got to know that to fight. If we have, the battle needs it, that we had to know that. And this is nothing to do with barley. You know, this is not about, but give the council its due and the people of Edinburgh its due. The battle wasn't even done when we did that, because the Viscount and his pals made a submission to the council saying, you know, my view is fake news. But, you know, the facts are there. And the council put out a planning permission. So the council is seeking planning permission to put a plaque, which was already there.
Wow.
And there was a vote. Fortunately, we fought and we won it. And this was a general public vote. So this is the kind of fighting, if we're talking about activism, that to fight to get slavery and some recognition of our history and the people who died in it. That's how we had to fight. The point is as well, you know, other people say, well, why are you doing that? It's the past. As I said, we can't change the past, but we can change the consequences. And another thing we did was I was on the advisory board of Glasgow University. And I think it's the end of 2018. They asked for advice. And what Glasgow University did was to look at their history. And they found Glasgow University, which started in the 1400s, before Columbus went to the New World. Glasgow University looked at their history, found that they received about 200 million from slavery in legacies. And they've been to the West Indies, set up links with the University of the West Indies, putting out scholarships for Black kids. So if there's a Black kid out there want to go to Glasgow, there is a scholarship. And it was a great privilege for me because the university asked me to unveil the plaque in the church, in the university campus. And the plaque reads, you know, it's there commemorating the suffering of Black people from whom this university benefited. And therefore, that's activism.
Yeah.
It's a sense of, you know, they're fighting in different quarters and different areas. But we've now got one plaque up in the university, one in the middle of Edinburgh, which we hope will go up permanently soon. It's already there in the park, temporarily. Temporarily, it is up. The point is that I hope it will be there for the next 200 years.
Yeah.
So that people don't have to go to a university or a school to see that. But you're right, with the curriculum, that is critical. Because a lot of Scottish people, and even people when I go down to Liverpool or whatever to speak to people, or London, the general consensus of these people, these are Scottish people, white people or Black people. Nobody's ever taught us that history before.
Mm-hmm.
Our schools should be telling you what I'm telling you this morning.
Mm-hmm.
The schools should be doing that. the fact is that everything I've just said about Henry Dundas, every person, black and white, should know.
Yeah.
So that they can challenge these historians who are still saying, can you believe it? There was an article in the Times not long ago where this historian is saying Dundas was an abolitionist. He was a gradual abolitionist.
Yeah.
And therefore, we have to challenge that, even though everybody knows that's what he did. But there are still historians and people like that out there, because these are the people who limit what we do, because some of them advise the government.
Mm-hmm.
And you're pushing where you are, and they're saying, well, there's no point pushing because, you know, we abolished slavery. We did this, we built roads and we built schools. There's a professor of Oxford who says that. This is victimhood, you know, and the Prime Minister used the word the other day. Victimhood. The point is that Professor Bigger at Oxford is saying, well, we built roads and we built a school and we, you know, we taught them English. So the slavery bit is balanced.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have to do anything. The point is we've got to challenge that. We've got to challenge it and say, and I put on Twitter this morning, you know, that our slavery, it's the most profitable evil against humanity that this world has known. And somehow, I don't want revenge. I just want redress.
Mm-hmm.
I want those kids to have an opportunity like I had. And therefore, we're going nowhere. I've made a video for the Scottish government and it says, we are Scotland. So I'm the face of Scottish inclusion and diversity. And I hope that in England, for the whole country, that this will become the norm,
Mm-hmm.
because we are part of this, the country, and we're going nowhere.